Hello, good morning. Welcome to Outnumbered. It's my favorite day of the week because, of course, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to Outnumbered once again, where we review the newspaper headlines. And, of course, I'm not alone. I'm with Ramsey and Tonia. Hello, Antonia. Hello, Chris. Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
You just called Ramsey. Chris.
Oh, I said, oh, I'm so sorry. That means
It's
Chris is like
okay.
in my head. I'm really
I
sorry about that.
understand. I
I mean,
understand.
a lot is going on right now. Before we delve deep into our newspaper headlines, what do you think about the old drama going on within the EFCC, the NIA, the DSS, and the former governor of Kogi State? Because it is a laughable one. Someone sent me a meme yesterday where the EFCC declared him wanted, and one would think, as the sitting governor, does your immunity cover the former governor of a state? I mean, a lot has been going on in my head because I mean the EFCC were on ground to pick him up, and then we saw videos of police officers and all of that trying to shield, and a lot was just going on. And remember that a few days back, EFCC came out to say, "Oh, nobody is above the law when we are concerned." But this looks like it's a different case. I like the fact that you guys are sharing the same
No,
look.
the immunity, that's to tell you that nothing is forever.
Hmm.
Okay? When you have the opportunity to do anything, do it with the whole of your strength
Hmm.
and do it the way it's
It
supposed
should.
to be done within the confine of the law
Mhm.
because there is always an end to everything. Whatever has a
A
beginning
Beginning
will
beginning
has
has
an
an
also
end.
end.
have an end. So that's what I feel because the
Okay.
immunity is not there
He's
anymore.
not there
If not,
anymore.
they wouldn't
But then
be.
it feels like the new
Imagine
governor
Yahaya
is
Bello
covering up
running
for.
helter skelter.
I
Yahaya
mean, who
Bello,
would
the
have
lion,
thought?
Yeah.
The
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 lion,
lion
emperor.
the
running helter
emperor, the
skelter,
one that
the
bullied Natasha
conqueror.
Apoti
Ah,
Yeah, to
yeah.
the
to the
latter.
Well,
latter.
that's
So
life for you.
Hmm. Okay, all right, our viewers at home, let's start today's outnumbered proper, and I'll be taking it from the punch. And of course, the lead story there is still concerning the former governor of Kogi State, 80 billion naira money laundering. Federal government places Yaya Bello on watch list. Immigration alerts DSS. Now, federal government orders border surveillance. Asks DSS, NIA, police to prevent ex-governor's escape. Now, EFCC should obey court order restraining ex-governor's arrest. That's coming from the former governor's lawyer. We don't know what is going to end that, but then today is still Friday. The week has not ended. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Now, let's take some stories. Federal government enforces price in Abuja supermarkets, plans Lagos to Port Harcourt visits, and that's a nice one from the federal government. And that's a page 2 read. 7 trillion naira remitted to federation accounts in 6 months. That's coming from Ramfak, and that's a page 21 read for the Punch. And now, anti-party activities. That's the kicker of the story. The writer says, PDP next silent on Wike. Saraki leads peace panel. And now to another story where Ogun acquires 25 vans, mans Lagos Ibadan Expressway with drones. Ooh, love to see it. We're going digital in Nigeria. Well, now to the next story. Lagos to Calabar Highway. Federal government panel to pay compensation within 10 days. Compensation. How much is this compensation to start with? Given that someone like Landmark Beach, I'm trying to imagine how much the federal government would give such person to say this is compensation because I want you to relocate.
Hmm.
I'm not sure they are
Would they
actually
do
prepared
that?
for that.
I
Prepare
don't
for
think.
that.
I don't think they're
Okay, but they said
prepared.
in the next within 10 days. Let's see what
Let's
happens
see
Let's
what
see
within
what
10,
happens
happens.
10
within
days.
10
Let's
days.
let's begin to count.
Yeah, the countdown starts from now. Well, 16 killed as Bornu boss runs over ISWAP explosives. That's a sad one there. And it's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. And now, finally, for the last story on the Punch, we have Ondo. That's the kicker of the story, where the writer says, Ayeda Tiwa. Other APC aspirants battle for 171,922 votes, and that's on page 3 of the Punch. Now, for the picture story, do have to get a copy of the Punch newspaper, of course, to read more on the headlines and again to get more details on the Punch newspaper. Over to Antonia.
Thank you, Mercy. We'll be looking at the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. APC chairman, court stops Ganduje's suspension. That story is on page 3. Federal government needs 3.2 trillion naira for electricity subsidy in 2024. This is coming from NEC. So first it was the tariff hike. Now electricity subsidy. Well, let's see what happens in the coming days. And that story is on page 24. Northwest has the highest rate of poverty in the country. I'll take that again. Northwest has highest rate of poverty in the country. This is coming from Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who's the National Security Advisor. And the details of that is on page 23. The big story on the Nigerian Tribune, PDP neck. Damagum survives push to oust him. Those expecting party implosion disappointed. This is coming from the governors, and the details of that is on page 2. Ondo 2024. As APC gets set to pick candidates, Tinubu keeps contenders guessing. Now we'll have a rider underneath that which says Kogi governor to lead APC committee. Moving on, despite producing 21 billion eggs annually, Nigeria spends $1 billion importing egg powder. And this is coming from the minister. The details of that is on page 28. Seeing things like this just breaks my heart on a daily, because why would we be producing 21 billion eggs and we still spend so much on importing egg powder? Now, moving on to the next story. Again, senators' reps postpone resumption by 7 days. And finally, from the Nigerian Tribune, EFCC declares Yaya Bello wanted. AGF warns against obstructing commission from performing its lawful duty. And the next writer says, don't desecrate courts with fighting. Don't desecrate courts while fighting corruption. Anti-graft CSOs caution EFCC. And the details of that is on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Over to you, Ramsey.
All right, thank you very much, Antonia, for those headlines. Let's look at the Guardian newspaper and see what we have from there. From the Guardian newspaper, I'll be starting with the big story this morning. And the big story says, living on war front, that's the key card. Then the story says, Borno residents on the edge, tiptoeing on active landmines, IEDs. All right, that's the big story from the Vanguard, the Guardian newspaper, I beg your pardon. And the details you can get on pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. More stories still coming from the Guardian newspaper. Over 6,000 illicit weapons recovered nationwide in 3 years. Okay? Over 6,000 illicit weapons recovered nationwide in 3 years. Details you can get on page 28 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. All right, more coming from Kano State. Kano APC accuses presidency of sabotaging Ganduje as ex-governor gets reprieve. Well, I don't know, but then Ganduje's case is not something that we can finish talking about, because so many things coming up. I look at this as a drama, but we'll watch this. We'll keep watching this because, of course, we're the watchdogs. We'll keep watching it until it gets to the end, and the details of that you can get on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. PDP neck retains Damagum, ask Tinubu to reject economic team. Yesterday we talked about it, if Damagum was going to return or not. His fate was to be decided yesterday, and after the neck meeting, he's been retained. I think we should be saying congratulations to Damagum, but then can we now say the crisis in PDP is over? I don't know.
I don't think we can categorically say that till events unfold.
And the way you said the categorically, you know, when you say I cannot categorically tell you what it is now.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait for my boss.
The guys at the
the
top.
guys
The guys at the top.
We
So
have to say
literally, in
something.
this case, your guys at the top have to decide if
If.
Damagum. I mean, it's a huge one for Wike to support him, given his stance with the PDP. It looks
Yeah.
like Wike is one of the top
It's like
shots
the-
right now in the People's Democratic
Many
Party.
PDP is somehow coming together. Because some people are saying, wow, Atiku, Wike, all meeting at the neck. There was going to be something.
I mean, did you see the
What is-
security
Oh my
yesterday?
God.
was
No
My
something
God.
Thursday. And let's not even get into
Everywhere
details.
blocked.
Everywhere was blocked
All
yesterday.
right, you can just pick a copy of the Guardian newspaper. Page 6 reads, and so you can just get more details from there. More still coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning. World Bank, that's the kicker, rising inflation. Weak earnings push 10 million Nigerians into poverty in 2023. Details of that you can get on still on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. NCS hands over 1.7 billion naira worth of seized fake drugs to NAFDAC. I don't know. It amazes me. There's something that amazes me in this country, where you see people hawking drugs at the car park,
Hmm.
at garage. You know, you see people.
I didn't have that approved.
I didn't have that approach.
Who
And you
made
Are
take
they
them home.
professional?
Who gives
you know
the
Can
what,
they
you know,
prescribe?
yes, what happens now in Nigeria that is mind-boggling is the fact that most of these drugs would sometimes even have NAFDAC registration numbers. Meanwhile, they are not authentic numbers. I remember there was a time that there was this issue about a certain lady that produces creams for people. I don't want to mention the name, and
Yeah.
it was trending on social media. And she said, "Oh, she had NAFDAC. I beg your pardon, NAFDAC registration number." Only for us to find out that the NAFDAC never approved
those products.
those products for people.
I'm just
So even
imagining how
having
many
NAFDAC
skins she
registration
had
number
burnt.
right now, it's not. It was because
It was because it had
he
a
had,
ripple
he had a
effect on
ripple effect on
someone,
someone, not
yes,
even one,
more
multiple
than-
persons.
yes.
That's why they had to trace
That's why
it.
they had to trace it, because they started talking about the kind of people she was signing up to
Her
her brand. There were people that were already light skinned or probably already dark
That's what
skinned,
they do.
and then by the time they want to even make promo for her and all of that, they use filter. So someone actually came out against her,
Can you
and the person
imagine
kept
that?
on saying,
The
"Why would
deception
you?"
is deep.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
deception
no,
is
no,
it's deeply rooted.
advertisement. I
What
think
kind of
my
advert would
project,
you
my
do with?
project was in the area of advertisement.
Okay, your
And there is
project in your
something, there's
undergraduate
something we
days.
call deception.
Yeah.
Okay, in advertisement.
Okay.
I have a brother who is always saying, well, this cream, I'm sure this lady they are using for this advert had never used
yes.
it.
Exactly.
And these are some of the things that we want NAFDAC to rise up to,
But
because
away
and
from
Standard
the
Organization of
cream,
Nigeria,
away
SON,
from the cream, you buying a drug from a car park without doctor's prescription, that's self-medication at the highest level.
You know, some people can actually sell this product to you and say, "Do you have
Yeah,
back pain? Have you
yeah,
ever met them in
or
the car
in,
park before?"
in
in
fact,
terms of
they talk more than
supplements and
Their
all of that.
marketing skills are,
It's
my
top-notch.
It's
God.
something else.
But it's at the end of the day, it's also causing a lot of harm to your body because you are not taking it in the right, if at all that drug is
Can that
authentic,
person even
you are not
prescribe?
taking it in the right dosage. You're just taking it, you're just guessing to do it. Imagine what it can do to your body.
Well, I think NAFDAC will need to rise to the occasion. They are doing well for them to come up to at least seize fake drugs up to 1.7 billion naira. It's something to commend them for. But then they need to do more because so many persons are still parading themselves to be whatever. All right, please invite Akpata Edo LP chairman over Uniben violence shooting. All right, and lastly from here, EFCC declared Bello wanted over alleged 80.2 billion naira fraud. But I think that arrest is beyond that money issue. I think it must have stepped on some toes, probably. I'm not just saying. I'm like trying to say maybe. All right, that's going to be the size of the headlines from The Guardian this morning. Let's move to the next paper. Over to you,
Okay, then
Mercy.
before I move to the next paper, I think 80 million naira or 80 whatever it is he stole is enough ground for EFCC to actually pick him up, whether he stepped on some toes or not. And given that EFCC outrightly came out to say, "Oh, whether you are the
Whoever
mighty,
you are.
whoever you are, if we feel like you actually did some things that you're not supposed to do, when
You're a
and
fraud.
It's not out of place for
it's
them
not
to
out of place
call
for them
him
to
at
call him,
all.
and now he doesn't have immunity again, which begs the question:
You're-
what happened to
You're
that
so
immu-
keen
yes,
about
I'm
the
keen
immunity
about
of
the
a
immunity
friend.
because
You're
now
angry.
what
The
happened
immunity.
with President Muhammadu Buhari? Why are we not asking him several questions?
Because it's the reason why we are
It's the
here,
reason
are
why
here.
we're
now.
where we are right
And
now.
they came and continued from where he
Yes,
stopped.
it's not even about continue from where we stop. It's just like a ripple effect. This administration is barely 1 year.
It's barely 1 year,
Yeah, it's barely 1 year, and the
to
people
an
the
extent, they're even
expectations are
trying.
exactly the expectations are
EFCC,
too
in
much.
fact, EFCC is even beating my imagination right now with
Well,
what
you
they
have
are
to give
doing.
it up to them.
Yeah.
Well, now let's move to this day newspaper for this morning. The biggest story they are screaming for attention is, of course, still EFCC declares Yaya Bello wanted as AGF wants fugitive ex-governor.
Fugitive
I like the way this
Ah.
they coined the story.
The headline.
Yeah.
Fugitive, wow.
Fugitive. Agency tells court it may engage military to effect his arrest. Does that mean they have to go to Kogi State? Or I'm wondering, is this still in Abuja? Yeah, because of course a court in Kogi State has declared that he shouldn't be
EFCC,
arrested.
but then
yes, he shouldn't be arrested. But
EFCC
then the
came to
court in
Abuja.
Abuja said he should be arrested. So
Go
where are we
ahead
going
and
to
arrest
follow?
him.
Okay.
The one in Abuja, because that overrides.
That overrides the state one,
The
yeah.
state.
Okay, Fagbemi says obstructing justice not allowed. I agree with that. Police withdraw security, immigration, send signal, puts him on watch list. That's a lot. But we do hope something is on ASAP. Ribadu, that's the kicker of the next story. The writer says not susceptible to insecurity because of sweeping youth literacy. Says Tinubu gave critical appointments to region to address its challenges. That's still on DZ newspaper. Dakwa Abiodun tackles insecurity with drones. Well, that's for the picture story there. And now for two more stories. PDP national chairmanship not matter of life and death for me. Damagum declares. Well, we would not know because you are the sitting chairman of the party. We do not know whether it's a matter of life and death. Well, that's a page 33 read for this day. And now finally, in groundbreaking move, Arise goes live in South Africa, 9 additional countries. Television station now in 54 African countries. We give it up to them. Well, that is all we take for this day newspaper this morning. After the break, we'll be talking about our lead story, which is, of course, federal government enforces prices in Abuja supermarket, plans Lagos and Port Harcourt visits. That's after this break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Hello and welcome back. You're still on outnumbered, reaching you from Oweleke TV, and I'm still Mercy Babazide. Now let's move to our lead story for today, which is federal government enforces prices in Abuja supermarkets, plans Lagos Port Harcourt visits. Why just 3 states in Nigeria? That's my first question, because trust me, the prices in most of the stores are outrageous. And you know, for every given opportunity you give to every Nigeria, we would always blame the federal government for most of these things. And everybody's excuse now is we bought goods when dollar was 1,700 naira, which I believe that is not, because Nigerians can lie. We can, Lord have mercy, we lie a lot. How would prices of goods like gari, beans be affected by price of dollars? Antonia.
So the way Antonia, more like I'm selling rice
You
or
know,
beans,
I'm saying-
but they're looking at everything that is going on. So
Mhm.
let's start it from where you started off. Them enforcing the prices in Abuja supermarkets and Lagos, Port Harcourt. Not just the major cities, because those in the interior, they are also suffering from all of this. You would hear a woman in the village still say, "Oh, dollar and whatnot." Do you understand? They're also suffering from
People
all of
that
this.
get to farm to pluck pepper and tomatoes too would say
Because
dollar is
they are
affecting them.
because they are also selling to other people and all of that. And it's so sad that what goes up in Nigeria does not come down. The law of gravity does not apply. And when people buy things, they come up with excuses that we got it during the time when dollar was high, and as such we cannot reduce the price. But they are very quick to increase the price. So for instance, you bought a product while dollar was low. Immediately you hear that the price dollar is high, they inflate the prices. They are very quick. It's really sad to see this, and kudos to the government for actually going out to enforce, because we spoke about this on the Weekend Review, one of our programs, where we talked about the federal government setting up task force that would actually go to ensure that the prices of goods and services drop to a minimal level, to ensure that food inflation is curbed. Because earlier this year, Nigeria reached 40%, over 40% in food inflation. You can imagine. And with the way things were going, it's more like it's on a steady rise. Now, moving away from that, seeing all of these things, the federal government should actually take time to enforce these rules in every other part of Nigeria, not just these 3 states, because focusing on these 3 states alone is not going to solve the problems we are having. It's not going to solve it in any way at all.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Antonia. Now to Ramsey. Some persons have said they feel like the federal government is witch hunting some particular supermarkets. I remember it was I can't remember the name of the supermarket they visited the last time, and they shut it down, and now it's For You supermarket. Do you actually think the federal government is witch hunting? That's one. Two, should these actually be implemented in markets? I mean, we have the grassroots people. It's just supermarkets they're facing now. We have people in the market that sell most of these things at outrageous prices. Yeah, we understand that most of these people transport their goods and services to the market from wherever they get them from. We get that fuel is, of course, affecting most of these things. But then, should we have not just FCC, PC or ICPC? I can't remember the name. Should we have like something like an Iyaloja or Iyalode or something for
Like
the
a local
grassroots, like a
market
local
task
market
force.
tax force,
Okay.
apart from the ones that visit supermarkets.
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy. Let me react to the first question.
Which one? Tell me.
While Abuja,
Port
Lagos,
Harcourt.
and Port Harcourt,
Okay.
there is something we call copy.
Oh my goodness.
In Nigeria.
I did not expect that.
I like the way you said it in the layman language.
No,
eh?
I just
They're
need
really
to be clear.
copy.
This is what happens. I was asking one Aboki man,
Yeah.
why did your price increase like this? He couldn't say anything.
Mm.
He was doing it because
Other
He saw
person
someone
doing
doing it.
he couldn't really explain why. You understand? Let me tell you something. What happens at the grassroots mostly is that they look at what is happening up there. If you remember when this increment
Started.
started, it started from the top, the cities. Then the people at the states, the local government start following suit. So what really happened is, okay, watch and see. Now, if they really rise to the occasion and do the necessary thing, following the supermarkets, okay, the way they are supposed to do it, the people at the state and the local government, you see that prices of things will start reducing if it actually start reducing from Abuja here. Then you talked about witch hunting. Witch hunting, I don't see it as a witch hunt because if you want to take a good statistics and know the number of people that have actually passed because of the hunger in the land. See, some persons don't even go to the market anymore because going to the market increase their blood pressure. Yes.
You just hear
You
hear
just
the
you
price
just hear
and
some
your
things,
high
then you
blood
just think of how much you came to the market with. Then before you know, somebody is already going down. And I think I should say kudos to the federal government. This is a step in the right direction. We've talked about this over and over and over again. And Antonia says something. The law of gravity does not apply
It
to the
doesn't.
market
Whatever
forces.
goes up in Nigeria
Whatever goes
does
up,
not come down.
fair. One. Fair.
And Ramsey, I like the fact that they're actually starting from the supermarkets. You know why? Sometimes if you go to the supermarket, sometime last year, I think I went to the supermarket to get something. The price on the counter
Was
the-
different
it
from-
was different from. So when it was scanned, another price popped up. And in fact, I had already given them my card. I was like, okay, what's the total?
Working with what you saw.
Working with what I saw, you understand? I'd given the cashier my card, and it was time to impute the PIN. The total, what I had calculated as the total was different, and I was like, "What's the price of this?" And she said, "I was like, because I needed it I needed it at that moment. I couldn't go back to return it, and I wasn't quite sure. I was like, okay, maybe that's the new price." Only for me to find out from another supermarket that it was actually less than that. So all of these, I think them going to the supermarkets to actually checkmate their prices is not in any way witch hunting
The
them.
supermarket are the
It's not
first
in
to
any-
increase
yeah.
prices. If
It's
you
not in
watch
any way witch
carefully, they are
hunting
the
them.
first to increase prices.
And then in that same story, we had a case of a supermarket that was still selling rice that
I don't
Stallion
want to
had
call the
stopped.
name.
Sorry.
I don't
A supermarket was still selling rice that the company had stopped production since 2022.
Wow.
And then they would sack the local rice. We're not even sure where they get their rice from. Sack them in bags,
Because
looking
did,
like
you, did you not have people regulating or checkmating these people?
I don't
put
know
them in
what
place?
Standard Organization of Nigeria is
Is
doing.
doing.
Son, I don't know what you
and
guys are
you
doing.
know why, earlier we were talking about something. We were talking about deception in advertising
In
and all of
advertising
that.
and all of
So for instance, Mercy wants to buy rice from that supermarket. She goes there. If the bag of rice is 70,000 naira and maybe your normal Nigerian rice is sold for 50,000 naira. So because Mercy sees a particular brand, that particular brand that is her favorite, she will pay for that. Only for her to get to the house and open it.
And it's
you are
the
seeing
other
a
one.
different thing.
Different
So
rice.
that's deception in every form or in every sense of it, because you're not getting value for your money. You are not getting what you ordered.
This thing
Well,
just
it's
just made me
painful.
remember there was a time there's this sauce they use for cooking, soy sauce.
Yeah.
I remember there was like different kinds of amoy.
Variants.
We had amori, we had amoka, we had amokea, we had different types of
You
amoy
also have a marker.
in the market. But then we know that the federal government is trying, but then we hope that they actually extend this to all other states and not just supermarkets, please. I think
The
the
local
markets,
markets.
yes, the local markets too are quite
Nigerians have
important.
suffered.
And not just the prices of goods alone, the quality, please. Because now that people can easily just paste any NAFDAC registration number on their products just because they want to make people feel like it's authentic. We do hope that NAFDAC can hear us and any other government agencies that are, of course, in charge of all of this. This is where we wrap it up for our number today. Thank you to Antonia and thank you to Ramsey for doing perfect justice to the analysis. And of course, this is where we wrap it up for this week. Thank you for staying tuned and outnumbered. I remain Messi Babajidi. Bye for now.